Welcome, Warrior. This is your Warrior Wednesday PSA, public service announcement, headlines, updates, you name it. Take actions, resources. We have a lot to cover, so let's get to it. But first, because every once in a while I get a complaint that somebody can't hear me. I would think I'd get a lot of those if you really can't hear me. So make sure you turn up your volume. But let's check in. Let's do a roll call. Please let me know that you can hear me before we proceed. I start talking, as you know, and sometimes never stop. I see that Edie's here. Edie, thank you, thank you, thank you. Fred is here. There's Fred. Lionel Nation 5x5. Edie, before I forget, I'm going through all of your things you sent, your artwork and your writings. So give me a chance to review that. I've been on the road and it's been nonstop, but I will this evening review all and get back to you. Fred starts us off in the Warrior way by gifting 10 Lynn's Warriors memberships. Thank you, Fred, because what do I always say? Getting this information out to you is the most pertinent, is the most important. Things mainstream media probably is not even sharing with you. That being said, it's a rainy, kind of miserable late afternoon here in New York City. I guess this is Hurricane Erin. Some of these moving this way. I know it's in North Carolina right now. So please, just a shout out to please heed any warnings. Be safe, not sorry. And please do that. Now, I want to get into something right away. You know, I've been talking forever about the legalization of prostitution, a very big push to legalize the sex trade. With that being said, nobody was really grabbing onto it. Things were, hidden behind the scenes, the push for it, the money's behind it. But all of a sudden, we had Andrew Cuomo come out and make a comment about it. And then we have our current mayor, Eric Adams, and we have various voices. We've been talking about this for a long time. So let's put politics aside. We cannot have, it is the exploitation of all people. You know, I talk about this all the time. This is nothing new. Legalizing the sex trade equals supply and demand, equals more people will be trafficked to fill the demand. And when there's no accountability, no laws being enforced, that means more of the criminals will bring in more people to exploit. Remember, I don't like the word trafficked, even though that is used. I like exploitation, slavery, because it's the enslavement of people. But that being said, everybody should understand legalizing any of this sex trade is legalizing a brothel next door, is legalizing a pimp, a trafficker, a sex buyer. This is just the biggest red mark on society. How anybody could want to see when the demand is for children in this heinous atmosphere, abused. So let's get that, out there, what it really is. It's not my body, my choice and freedom. And it's a labor movement. I'm going to have health care and I'm going to have more control and law enforcement won't bother me. This is so wrong. This is total exploitation. I'm going to just keep talking about it, keep shouting about it until people understand this cannot be. We cannot have children behind glass windows like they do in Amsterdam, Germany, because I fear in Times Square, we're going to see that. We're going to see that in the next couple of years. If this is at all going to be legalized. And I tell you about New York City because New York State is considered, along with California, the leader states in the country. So I'm telling you about this because it's behind the scenes for your state too. If you've heard anything about this in your state, please write that, send that to me. Edie, yes, I just saw a comment. Fred is the best. Absolutely. Fred keeps us in business. Fred is always sharing the information. Speaking of law enforcement, NYPD just released, they just brought 1,100 new police officers. Biggest graduation class they've had in a decade. So that is good news because I fear for them. I fear for any law enforcement across our country, the way they are denounced, defunded. We see all these videos of nobody has fear. Like when I was a child, you a teen, an adult, whatever, we had respect for law enforcement. I don't want to hear that story about anything bad with law enforcement. There are a few bad apples in every business, in everything. So let's leave that. For the most part, we need to support our law enforcement, and we need them as we in 2025 are training them about, survivors and victims of sex trafficking, labor trafficking, to understand the new thinking about the trauma suffered, that they are not that person, right, in the sex trade is really not, for the most part, I say, the criminal. Right now, we have these horrible, horrible, pimps and predators that get the people to do other crimes, drugs, roping kids in, retail theft, everything. Think of it like I always say, a big wheel with a lot of spokes, and it makes all the spokes are making the wheel go around. It's a very complex issue. We must wrap our minds around. And this cannot be allowed, because I'm telling you, it's coming to your neighborhood soon. Also, we've got the cartels. The cartels, we have to have more. I just actually posted something on my ex, Lynn's Warriors. Remember, everything's named Lynn's Warriors to make it easy for you, from Derek Maltz. And I want you to look at this tweet. Former DEA, he stepped in the beginning of the Trump administration to help out for a couple of months about the cartels. He has talked about the cartels as long as I have known him. He has talked about how they're operating, how they're criminal, how they're in all 50 states, how they're dealing the drugs, and how they're in our middle and high schools getting our American kids to do their dirty work. So we as a community have to discuss all of this. We have to really address, why is this allowed? We have to raise the issue. We have to make people aware. That being said, it's back to school time. I like to think of September, end of August, as kind of a fresh start. I know it's January traditionally. It is the new year, but it's always back to school time, right? That's what I think. And let us really take this by the reins, and let us really talk to our kids open and honestly. Let us as a community, you may not have kids, right? Do something. Talk about it if you have an opportunity. If not, leverage the internet for good. Use your platforms for sharing this discussion, for sharing something I put on the Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever, right? Look, digital, here to stay. So we use it as the Warriors to spread information, not for any kind of personal gain, as far as, look what I had for dinner, look what I'm wearing, look at my sexy bikini photos, look at where I'm traveling. None of that. The only thing is, I do like to put out a picture with my husband, Lionel, every Sunday, giving thanks, because we truly give thanks every Sunday for all of you supporting us, being loyal, and also just loving us and empowering us. And I feel sometimes, when I get a message from somebody, or they followed some advice, shared something, that makes me stand up a little taller and really become that warrior. So let me go back. First of all, Carla, thank you very much. Speaking of bad apples, the son of future Queen of Norway has been indicted for sexual abuse and violence against women. It can happen anywhere, anytime. Awareness is the only way. I mean, thank you, Carla. It sounds very like, simple but it's actually, that's the number one thing. I'm sitting in the middle of New York City. We do a lot of work in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, right? The people are supposed to be savvy. I constantly hear on a daily basis, that doesn't happen here. That's not true. My child wouldn't do that. Really? Look at of course, we at the Warriors are inundated with people, with press releases and things of that nature, of sexual abuse, of sexual exploitation, of labor trafficking. But you as a person, if you just scan some headlines, whether it's the New York Post, whether it's Daily Mail, whether it's Breitbart, wherever you go, you're going to find stories of all of this predation. It is so prevalent. It can be, it can be a priest, it can be a rabbi, we have so many teacher stories. We have so many things going on. You must be aware of everything, and you must safeguard children and help. Again, even if you don't have children, I think we have a duty as adults to safeguard. Now, Mark asked, Mark is asking, to play devil's advocate, the pro-legalizing prostitution would require police to arrest and stop underage prostitution, or is this a lie or not realistic? Mark, we do extensive work in this area. It is not realistic, okay? First of all, a minor cannot be a prostitute. They can't consent. So we don't call minors prostitutes. They are forced into this. They are prostituted, right? The second thing is, no, everything you're saying is not realistic. because the pro-legalizing prostitution would require police to arrest. It's not going to work. It's not going to work because even where we know legalization in places like, I always use the examples because we have them. We've got New Zealand, we've got Germany, we've got Amsterdam. We know they're pulling all this back because they legalized it. And now we have decades later, 2 decades later, it doesn't work. It is, again, that supply and demand. More people are trafficked, exploited, brought in. Germany, for instance, you're not getting some German, I don't know, blue-eyed blonde woman. These are women. We do have some boys and men too, but we primarily talk about women. Although, according to law enforcement, they tell me that the largest growing demo right now, boys, 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 3 times faster than girls. So we got to start thinking about that and talking about that. Let's bring it to boys and girls. But right now, let me get back to Germany. They are trafficking women in from, Africa and all these places like that, Thailand. So it's not even German women. So it's just a mess. We cannot have this here. We need law enforcement with all of this. Look what's going on around us. And now we're going to throw the legalization of the sex trade. It sounds very nice. It sounds like great because the pro-legalization lobby, they are coining this kind of as a labor, that sex work, their words, not mine, is a reputable job, and it's labor and it's work. It's work just like being a teacher. It's work just like being, a garbage man or a doctor. It's work. But we know, I am a broken record, but you're going to hear me again. We know it is totally an exploitation. We have studies, 91 to 97% are forced into the sex trade. Forced. That, warriors, is a definition of human trafficking, of sex trafficking. Force, fraud, coercion. You say, why don't they run away? Why did they do this? You have to understand, which is the new thinking, which we're working with law enforcement, we're working with the overall society. But right now, law enforcement, let's focus on that, and judges, for them to understand the new thinking. Remember, human trafficking only became a crime. It started in 1999, passed into legislation in 2000 by Representative Chris Smith from New Jersey. I'm working right now on securing an interview with him. We're working out the details because he wants to come to us live from Congress in Washington, which we would love. So we're just working on some details. We will have that interview, though, in the next 2 weeks. He, Representative Chris Smith, is the one that started all of this. So it only became a crime basically 25 years ago, right? At the time, it was arrest prostitutes, their words. Arrest any of these people in the sex trade. We have since learned about trauma bonding. If somebody, they're very savvy, these traffickers, these pimps, these cartel members, whatever they are, because now they're getting, in the last several years, getting even children to go out and do, like I said, retail theft, go out and do things like, deal the drugs, because they figure kids get these lighter sentences and they're not going to lock the kids up. And especially where we have, like in New York, to fund the police, I can't tell you how many things I get where somebody will have so many priors, and I'm not a lawyer, okay? I know Mark here is a lawyer. They have so many priors, and they will sexually abuse somebody, rape, whatever it is, and they're just let out. Okay. I don't even know about the bail. I just keep reading these things, and it is amazing if I see somebody 27, 37, and especially exploitation of a child. I see this a lot, and they get a slap on the wrist. I say throw away the keys, but that's what I say at the Warriors. So we just have to be aware this is happening. There is a lot of talk about it right now, which I'm happy. I don't care. I know we have an election going on here in New York City. Anytime, so I know they're touching upon it. I will say, though, go back. My husband Lionel, his show on WABC Radio, The Other Side of Midnight, I was his guest 2 evenings ago, and we did a pretty good full explanation of all of this. I just want people to be aware of some facts and what's really going on, because it really does sound like, okay, if 2 people consent, especially if they're 18 plus, they're an adult, right? Even if we don't like something, let them be. But we have learned so much about all of this in the sex trade, and it is so exploiting. Even in people go, I heard somebody today on another show saying, well, Nevada, where it's legal, we know from these brothels, and we're studying up on, that a lot of those women, okay, or barely women, let me just leave it at that, right? We're a family program right now. Remember, the demand is for children. I'll leave it at that. They are forced into it in these brothels, even though in certain counties in Nevada it is legal. They are forced. And we have a lot of the women starting to come out and tell us stories. So, this whole sex trade thing, can you imagine if we put all of this emphasis on, I don't know, education? I don't know, cleaning up the streets in New York. I'm talking about New York right now. If we just focused on good things, why do we have to? Why do we have to have a mayor-elect that is talking about, this? Okay, I'm going to skip that. Let's not get into too many politics with that. Back to school time, right? That's always this time to refresh, re-engage. I will put up an interview, actually it won't be up until the morning, with our great friend Melissa Henson from the Parents Television and Media Council. And she talks about steps YouTube is taking. She talks about AI, a lot of things you need to be made aware of, because frankly, what I talked to Melissa Henson about, I'm not really hearing in a lot of other places. So that'll be up tomorrow morning. I did put up, and this is a Warriors Take Action. Everybody get your pens and pencils and notebooks out. I want to give you something I need your help with, but let me just make sure I am not missing anything here. Yes, Jennifer says a new word is needed for trafficking. Well, Jennifer, I always will say like trafficking because that's what everybody, but I say usually slavery or I say exploitation because I cannot stand the word trafficking. I am convinced the public does not understand it. People I work with, organizations, they barely understand it. I think we need public awareness. We need PSAs on every streaming platform, on mainstream, on cable. I'm not seeing them. I've asked about them, but I'm not seeing them. I will continue finding out because, they have to do these things on these networks. They have to provide, at least they used to, some sort of community awareness about things and the pushback. And they won't do it a 30-second or 1 minute. So it's up to us to keep pushing. But let me make sure you are correct, Jennifer. We do need a new word. Edie, F is a movie based on the true story of baby prostitute in Germany. Now remember, I know kids are called prostitutes. They're minors. They cannot consent. Therefore, they cannot be a prostitute. Okay, that's what I have to say. Now, Fred says, I used to shoplift, Fred, as a kid for personal gain and pleasure until my father found out and beat me something. There's some kind of something. Beat me back into societal decency through compliance. But if I was getting paid and encouraged by adults, here's the thing. We know kids. They're kids. Let's cut them some slack. I'm very serious about this. We all did things as kids that, I don't know, Fred, I don't know if everybody stole, shoplifted, because I personally didn't, okay? But I did stupid things, what did I do? I don't know. Rode a bicycle 7 miles at 12 years old to meet somebody in the next town who, actually, she was a friend of mine. She wasn't a stranger, but stupid. We all do stupid things as kids, right? Listen, but the internet has opened up the world. That is opening your front door, right? And welcoming the world in. You would never leave your front and back door locked and put a sign out and say, come on in, everybody. My house is your house. Take what you want. Do what you want. Take my children. Take my child. You'd never do it. Why are you doing it with the devices? You must guardrail not only your kids, yourselves. I am getting so many, even today, I'm like, please authorize this purchase for a new iPhone. I have every security measure you can imagine. And they're still slipping through because these predators, hackers, scam artists are always 10 steps in front of the law. That is an argument for, let me just stick with Fred's comment. So kids, if you're a child and you're looking at things online, this is where I was going. Remember, everybody, I kind of digress. I go off. There's so much to talk about. You're online and you're seeing all these, kids your age, I don't know, 12, 14, 15, whatever, as an example. And, they have a beautiful, beautiful clothes or sneakers or a pocketbook, or they're living the good life with their friends and everybody's happy and chumming around. You you're going to want that too, right? We know the adults are doing it. Let's leave them out for a minute. The kids. So if you're in a home, you don't have that. I'm not suggesting or saying this is what to do. I'm just saying how kids think, right? Because we deal with a lot of kids. Or you come from a home. We talk a lot about parents and guardians and you as warriors looking out for everybody, but a lot of kids, and I'm asking this a lot lately. Okay, we have a lot of kids have nobody even looking for them. They live in a home, perhaps, that they have a drug-addled mother, right? Familial trafficking, we never talk about it. I brought it up in Washington last week, and it was met with whispers and hushing. Yeah, we know what's going on, but yeah, that's a tough one. That's culture. That's society. No, no, it is the exploitation of children. If we're talking about kids, familial, we've got to talk about it more. It is happening over 62% in New York. That's what we know about. Could be 80 of trafficking, exploitation, slavery cases are familial. It's not the white van. It's not the stranger. It is somebody a child knows. It could be the brother. It could be the father. It could be, we have so many mothers selling their children. We as society have to talk about this. I cannot imagine. I will scrub toilets. Before I would try anything like that. It doesn't even enter my mind. So kids, they want something. They're like this, the way they think, right? And I won't go into all the brain stuff and all that. Different studies, brains aren't developed until they're 25, 26. We hear all different kinds of things, right? They're kids. And if they have an opportunity to make $100 and they think they're just going to drop a bag off, at a house down the street, most kids are going to do it. Most adults would do it, right? And they get trapped. And once you do it once, you cannot get away from these criminal cartels. They hold it over your head, or they film you and then blackmail you that way. So we've got a lot of issues we got to deal with right now. But also, let's get back to the kids. I put up this morning an interview I did. I really would like everybody to watch it. And it's with Ann Basham. And Ann runs an organization called Ascend Consulting in DC. And she grew up, her dad was an FBI, and they took in foster kids, right? So she has a lot of experience with this. She calls herself a foster sibling. She puts on the most wonderful, which we are always invited to and attend. We have our next one in a couple of weeks, Senate roundtables. It's all collaboration and trafficking and updates and laws and things we need to amplify. And I interviewed her. I don't even like the word interview. I had a discussion, because I wanted to find out, we need childcare reform, CPS reform, whatever it's called all different things in different states. What is going on with all of this foster care, right? A lot of you write to me, what's happening? Here's a story. And I keep saying lately, we must reform it. So I wanted to start with Ann to have a basis. And this is where I need all of you to get your pens out and pencils and notebooks. Ann has brought forth something called the Gracie Act. Did you know 37.4% of all children in America, listen to me, will be interviewed by CPS by the time they reach age 18? 37.4%. What do I always tell you? That's what we know. It's probably higher, but 37.4% of children. That's a lot of kids. A little more than 1 in 3, right? By CPS, Child Protective Services, and their parents and their families, right? So I was dumbfounded when Ann told me this. And I learned about this in Washington fairly recently. And that's why I said, Ann, you got to come on, talk about the Gracie Act, how we can get the public involved, our warriors. Do you know when they interview kids, they don't record it, video or audio? Video or audio. And so I said to Ann, why? And she's been working on this for quite a while, the Gracie Act. Why? I don't understand. I thought everything was recorded. If you have kids in a room being questioned, never. Isn't that unbelievable? So she said there was a case, and let me just kind of bottom line it. And they knew for a fact the little girl was telling the absolute truth. The absolute truth. But one of the social workers taking notes wrote it down the wrong way. Therefore, the case was thrown out. And Ann was so upset. She said, how can I change this, start to change it? And she said, we have to record. It's like a no-brainer. So right now, this is a bipartisan act, the Gracie Act. If you go, please go on the YouTube channel right here. Go look for, I just put it up this morning, Ann Basham. I have all the links in the body of the video. Join our Gracie Act Coalition. It means nothing. It means nothing except you join. It doesn't cost money, but the take action right now is House.gov, Senate.gov. You contact your representatives because right now, we've got Congress. They're on their break, their summer break. Frankly, with everything going on, I don't think anybody deserves a summer break, but that's me. That's me. They traditionally every August they take off. So right after Labor Day, everybody reconvenes. This Gracie Act will be going, onto the floor. And so we need the public to contact their representatives. It's very simple. House.gov, Senate.gov. You plug in your, zip code. It'll tell you who represents you. You don't have to do any work, look up and Google anything, ChatGPT, none of that stuff. It will tell you. And you simply write to them. It usually gives a phone number, an email, offices too. But it's all great. But there's an email and there's a phone. How easy can that be? Email. And you just write to them and say, I'm a constituent. Please support and co-sponsor the Gracie Act. I want you to go back to that Ann Basham interview right here on the channel and look at the links. We need you to join the coalition, again, free. And we need you to support us in this movement. We need kids videoed and audioed so we have their word, not somebody who's half asleep with a legal pad writing down and transcribing a child's words incorrectly and cases get thrown out. So Gracie Act, I need everybody to do that. Now, another take action. Are you keeping up with Roblox? With the YouTuber Schlep? He goes by the handle Schlep. Started calling out predators on Roblox because this is a gaming site. This is a content creator, one of the most popular every day, 85 million plus users on the site. It's building games. It's interacting. They call it an experience. That's how they soft soap everything, experiences. And there's so much predation. And we know that over 40% of the users, some studies suggest 50%. So yeah, this is all murky. Like we need a better handle. I'm always saying that also in Washington or in groups and organizations, on studies and stats. But right now, there is a study that says 50%. There's another one that says over 40. We'll just say 50. Over half their daily users are 12 and under. These are children because there's no age verification. Therefore, wherever the kids are, so are the predators. So the predators are interacting with the kids, and they have several games created, very sexual, like public bathrooms, and you go in all kinds of things. And I ask all the parents, and they I know what Roblox is. Oh, does your child use it? Sure, my child's on there. Do you know what little Susie might encounter or little Gary? Oh, they're fine. This is a number one of the top predation sites. As a matter of fact, our great colleagues at the National Center on Sexual Exploitation every year put out a dirty dozen list, 12 entities, companies that are predation filled and need to change their ways. We're calling them out. Roblox is on the 2024, right? Last year's list. So you got to know what's going on, everybody. But there's also, all you have to do is go to the Warriors and look what I post about Roblox. There's also a petition. Right now we have 100,000 plus signatures demanding accountability. But what happened to this YouTuber Schlep, he's a kid himself, is Roblox, when he started posting things, and it's all correct, right? From what I'm seeing about predation, predators, Roblox went after him, shutting him down, sending him a cease and desist, and all kinds of stuff. So find the handle if you want Schlep, okay? SCHLEP on Twitter, X, and follow this. But we know there's a call for the CEO of Roblox. It's been around since 2004, a long time. But not until COVID did it become very popular, and it exploded. And you know how that is. When these viral things take off, it is so horrific for kids. So you got to be aware of what's going on. And listen, if you have a child or a grandchild, you can simply ask them. You don't have to go into deep conversation. Oh, you know about Roblox. See how they answer. And then you need, as the adult, to understand there have to be, it's up to you because there's parental autonomy or you're the guardian. what you want to do about that. But we highly suggest that you keep an eye on this, or delay is the way, I'll say. Wait until 8th. Kids don't need to be on these sites, okay? So that's been going on. And then the other thing is Congressman Nancy Mace, if anybody's familiar with her, a judge, well, I shouldn't go there really. Well, we'll go there another time, but it's good news for her. I'll put it that way. A boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, had, unbeknownst to her, filming her all the time, at his house, with no clothes on and things like that. And so she won a lawsuit. It's in the process, but, calling him out as a predator. So how are we going to get around that? Walking down a street when we have Mark Zuckerberg with his Google glasses that look just like Ray-Ban sunglasses, okay? So there are no alarms for it, but they're tracking. Not only are they taking pictures, they're tracking where you're going. Isn't this frightening? So these are all the issues. We're the adults. We have to be the mentors for the kids and for ourselves too, and make people aware. I think that's the most frightening thing. When you're wearing a pair of Ray-Ban sunglasses, yes, he's partnered with Ray-Ban. So they're actually Ray-Ban with all of this technology and this AI. And we're just at the cusp of all this. They're waiting to unleash. But don't you see on your platforms, it's always like, I don't know, AI, even Zoom, it's AI this, AI that, AI companion. When you look things up, be very aware. And we have to go back and talk again to kids about these chat bots. Chat bots. They are not real. We don't know where they're really getting information from, except when your child thinks it's cute and fun, because adults are doing it too, to engage and give out information about yourself. They're collecting this information, and in many cases, they're starting to use it against, let's talk about kids right now. We have a lot of cases, you're not hearing about them, where these bots are directing children to do very harmful things. They are not real. It is up to you to start talking about it open and honestly with your kids and be aware. I don't care how busy you are. You got to do it. You got to do it. We have so many things going on. Let me see if I'm missing anything. So the next thing I want to talk about is a big one. So one more thing. Back to school means no pictures. I'm going to keep saying it. I said it the other day. I put it online. I have people who say, I would never do that. And then I see pictures of their kids. I don't know why. They'll tell me they never do that, but again, it's up to you. The predators are there. And now with AI, artificial intelligence, and deep fakes, they can simply take your child's face, create all kinds of pornographic, CSAM, child sexual abuse material, and there's no recourse. Because again, the law lags behind technology. And as fast as we're working to come up with legislation, policy, guardrails, I'm sorry, right now, here's the reality, because we always give you the truth on the Warriors. The predators, always 10 steps ahead, maybe 20. I'll say 10 for now. So be aware, even for yourselves, what you're posting. Make sure it's just your friends. Even with that, we have so many people hacking. It's a very scary environment. You need to know these things. I'm not out to frighten you and scare you. I'm giving you the reality of what we work on 20 hours a day here at the Warriors. So we have that going on. And right now, I want to talk about tomorrow, August 21st, New York. I sent out our Warriors newsletter today. Please make sure you sign up for that. You go to linswarriors.org. You scroll down on the right side. It says e-newsletter. You just sign up. Okay? I sent it out today because people don't attend events or sign up early like they used to. People used to plan a month out and stuff. People are very like, I might go, I sign up, I don't go, I don't feel well that day. Very last minute. I don't know about where you live. I'd be curious. But here in New York, people, they sign up last minute to attend anything, okay? For the most part. So tomorrow is August 21st. It is National Fentanyl Prevention and Awareness Day. Please look at the video, the Black Poster Project right here on the Warriors channel, with the most fantastic warrior, Dee Gillen, who lost her son, Scott, to addiction, to poison. Poison is fentanyl. We don't say overdoses. Our children and all people are being poisoned. and Dawn Pizzolatto, who is the director at the Black Poster Project, theblackposterproject.com. And tomorrow is a very solemn day, along with the group Facing Fentanyl. I attended last year. This is the fourth annual, the largest press conference in the country. It's growing by leaps and bounds. I mean, just since last year. It is in Duffy Square, which is basically 47th Street in Times Square. And it will be the DEA. It will be Facing Fentanyl. It will be the Black Poster Project. It will be Lynn's Warriors. It will be parents and family members of those lost to this illicit drug. Because remember, that is what my newsletter is all about, to please attend this if you're in the New York area. There is nothing more powerful than hearing or resonates or helps you understand when you see a parent who has faced this. And last year I was overcome. All I could do was put a hand on a shoulder, give somebody a hug. They wear children on their shirts. They wear like sandwich boards. And I would listen to them talk, and they'll walk up to each other and say, like, what is your story? What is your date? What is your child's name? It's the most powerful thing. And I'm sorry, we have to have the Narcan. It should be in every dormitory room. It should be in every school. It should be in every household, because the rate that this poison is overtaking the number one killer of 18 to 40-year-olds in the United States, right? Basically, all these precursors are coming out of, some ingredients are coming out of China, right? Basically shipped to Mexico, and the cartels then take over and bring it all into the United States. And they're pressing into all these fake opioids. And, we have children who have expired. I'm always a little careful. I try to be, because we have algorithms here. Expired from half a pill. We have stories, tragedies of two children, two teens, sharing the same pill. They divide it in half. One lives, one doesn't. Because they're not like a chemist, these people, in these dirty pill presses and back rooms, dirty, and they're just mixing everything together and throwing it in. So there might be more of that precursor on one side of the pill than the other side. But think of a pencil. Let's see. Let's have a visual aid, everybody. I don't know if you can see this. Just the little black tip. That's enough fentanyl. Just the tip, not the whole pencil. Some salt granules to kill. This is how powerful it is. So this is an educational event. We're starting at about 11, and I want to tell you about the event. We're having a military flyover. We're having a lot of law enforcement, because we need our law enforcement on board to understand how to deal with this. We need the public. You heard me just say, every school, every home, every apartment, every business, everybody needs to have this Narcan and know how to administer it, have it on hand to save lives. This is the reality. We're not promoting drug use. This is what we got. And so many people have said if they had that, they could have saved their family member. So we need to just, bite the bullet, have it in the home just in case, hopefully, and pray we never have to use it. But we're going to start at about 11 o'clock. And then 11:30, and a lot of parents speak, DEA speaks, in Times Square, all those billboards flashing. We're going to have a whole display of loads of, unfortunately, kids and adults who have passed due to this. And we're going to have parents. And then after a couple of hours of this, this is most powerful. And I'll be there, and I'm actually going to take a video, because it is one of the most powerful exhibits I've ever seen in my life where I become speechless. You just can't talk. And that is, we're having a solemn march from Times Square over to St. Patrick's Cathedral. That's why, if you can, you should join us. Just look for me. You'll see me. And come by, especially if you're in New York. You don't have to come all day. Come for a few minutes. Meet some people. Lots of swag, lots of reading material. But we have a solemn march over to St. Patrick's. Every pew is filled in St. Patrick's with a poster. This is the Black Poster Project, theblackposterproject.com, started by Mom D. Gillen. Go back to the Warriors, like I said, and look for that interview. I did. It's right there. And because of her son, Scott. And she thought, what could she do? And she started just making posters with a black background. And she gets to know the families. It's not like she just slaps, they have to request it. She meets, she talks to them, she gets history about the family, the child. She is an advocate. She is a warrior. She's helping so many. And when I interviewed her, I said, how do you do this? Because you hear this trauma, tragedy over and over. She said, as many do, for instance, human trafficking survivors. This helps me. This is my therapy, helping others, right? I haven't been trafficked. I just want to be a voice, to give voice to all of these people like a D. Gillen, or, organizations working on trafficking, or those who have been trafficked, okay? Those who have suffered addiction. I want to be, that is the goal of the Warriors, to give voice, to share, to connect, to truly collaborate, because I'm so tired. Another thing I say in Washington a lot, we talk about collaboration. In my opinion, there's very little true collaboration, interconnecting. What I do, somebody else doesn't do. What they do, I don't do. We need everybody hands on. We have an American crisis right now with all of these issues. So we need everybody to get involved with this. Oops, let me just make sure. There's Frederick. This was stuck for a minute. I'm not sure. You're going to kick people, Frederick, with your steel-toe boots? I guess if you ride the New York City subways, if you're here, not a bad idea. I'm not promoting violence, Warriors. I'm just saying. Let me see what's going on here. Okay, everybody's greeting everybody. Let me just catch up. Jennifer says, sadly, I believe America is late to learn about this huge issue. Well, we can't be late. And Edie, we know CPS is a disaster. It's time we call them out. We have true reform. We get everybody on board. I do know, let me see how much of this I can say, really. HHS, the government, is looking on retooling everything, Health and Human Services, right? And that is something that is long overdue. That is why something like the Gracie Act, remember, go look for this interview with Ann Basham right here on the Warriors. Take action. We need you. We need you to press on your elected officials. Remember, they work for us. So if it takes 3 minutes to do what I'm begging you, urging you to do, you got to do it. You got to help us out here. Yeah, this is it. Frederick says the amount of kids that are unaccounted for or go missing while in CPS system is scary. It's beyond scary. It's ridiculous. It's time we end this. It's time we talk about it. It's time we address it. It's time we get everybody and anybody in the media to talk about it. It is time we help families and children. Okay? Because remember the flip side. As Ann Basham pointed out, my husband's also pointed out, former prosecutor, the flip side is parents getting accused of things they never did. And these workers doing their reports or whatever they're writing down, or maybe they just don't like the way you look. Who knows, right? I'm not a lawyer. I don't know. I'm not a CPS worker. And then the kids are taken. And how traumatizing to be put in strange homes. So the whole thing's a mess. And so many human trafficking survivors, over 60% of them have come through the foster care system, and they report exploitation. And I personally, in working with people one-on-one, they could be my age now, went through foster care, they were exploited, right? So it is a money-making, for the most part, money-making operation of exploitation. But here's the thing Ann Basham pointed out to me. She said, right now, there's no transparency. This stuff is unbelievable, I'm telling you. Like, I can't even believe I'm saying it. There's no oversight to CPS. Do you not find this the most shocking? And they spend billions of dollars on the foster care system. What a money-making criminal, in my opinion, cabal this is. So we have a lot going on. Because I asked Ann about the Gracie Act. For instance, with all those kids that came over the border unaccompanied, and then we had the people picking them up that were not properly vetted. We know this. And we had all those NGOs, 200 of them approximately, getting government money to do placements, and we know, look, my boots on the ground, they would tell me the same guy would come once, twice a week, take 10, 20 kids. Where's the vetting there? Where are those kids now? We know the last administration, and admit it, losing a large amount of these kids. The phone numbers provided were parking lots. They don't exist. All kinds of crazy stuff. It is time to clamp it down, stop it, and get on with cleaning all of this up. So if we talk about it, that is the number one biggest step. Okay, let's see if I missed. Okay, so here's your homework. I'm going to let everybody go because I could go on and on. Tomorrow, National Fentanyl Prevention and Awareness Day in the United States. Please share a fact on your platforms. Please retweet Facebook, anything we put on the Warriors about it, with the Black Poster Project. These are women, working for free, who've lost children. Is the most heartbreaking thing. The least we can do for them is be a warrior and share the information. Make somebody knowledgeable. There's so much free information. Facing fentanyl. I have all their information there. Just read about it. You will be astounded. And it's happening. You know this. In every town, city, and rural area in America, nobody is exempt. Don't let it be you or your child. Do not be buying any drugs online. Kids are buying with 2 clicks on Snap. That's for another program. I will keep screaming about that one. That has to be shut down. That kids can go on Snap, buy drugs, and have them delivered to their front door. No way. So be aware when you talk to kids or yourselves that this is going on, all this criminal stuff. And I know there's a lot of global stuff happening and a lot of this, a lot of that. Focus on your home and your community. Focus on these facts. Let me see. Let's finish up with always thanking. Let me see. Make sure. This is really lagging. Look at this Roblox, everybody. I want to make sure you know about this. It's really just unbelievably a site open for predators, and we have to really call it out, and that's it. Jennifer says, if I were in New York City, I'd be there tomorrow. I realize, thank you, Jennifer, for saying that. But what you can do is you can just put something on your platforms or talk to somebody about this. Make them aware. Again, like I told you, the tip of this pencil, this little black tip, that's enough to expire somebody. Let's leave it at that. I want to thank Fred. Memberships always happening. Edie for always pushing likes and telling people to be kind, and for the artwork you're sending. I did give Mr. L, I know you sent some things for him. I left them on his desk. And also for Carla for being so generous. With that, I want to make sure you all understand there are a lot of resources. There's a lot to talk about. Please, while you're talking about everything else, if you just do one little thing each day, any of these issues we talk about in the Warriors, that goes a long way. That honors our hashtag community creates change. And with that, I want to remind everybody, first, thanks for listening. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for all of reaching out to me, donations, volunteering. We do have an event coming up. I'm going to be calling on people to join us. That is later in September. It's here in New York City, so you have to be, around the area. It's boots on the ground, but we'll get into that next time we talk. But in the meantime, take a breath. And when you wake up each and every day, go out and be a warrior.